Okay, so we're going to be heading out soon for Lonesome Lake, which is up in the Franconia area, Cannon Mountain, Old Man of the Mountain, things like that. Although the Old Man of the Mountain, that slid off the cliffs a few years back, and they, New Hampshire elected not to replace it, which I think was a good idea. So I'm going to be checking out this lake, Lonesome Lake. It's actually on the Appalachian Trail, and there's actually a hut up there called the Lonesome Lake Hut. But I got some new equipment that I'd like to share with you. It provides a little more support for my fly rods, and interestingly enough, it's got a lot of little great places I can also put my my walking canes, or whatever you call these things. But I also have in here some waders. So I have some very light waders that will go up to my waist, and I actually even have some my fly fishing wading boots in here too. So even though the pack looks pretty full, it's just, it was about 19 pounds total until I added water. So it's really not that heavy a pack. It's just got a lot of great structure and will be comfortable to wear, and I'll be heading out with that. Now also I'm going to be taking the Cascade Brook Trail up to Lonesome Lake, which is going to be going by some really nice, the Cascade Brook is supposed to be really quite nice. There'll be some waterfalls, things like that, which I'll share with you. So this is probably this is probably the actual basin. Look at the way the water just curls around inside of the rock formation. How smooth everything is, and the thing is that New Hampshire's been in a little bit of a drought earlier this summer. Although we've gotten we've gotten some pretty good rain, but can you imagine what this looks like when it's really just pouring? I'm surprised this bridge that I'm standing on is actually here. This is actually just a little section that branched off from the main stream, but just look at the way it's carved out the stone over there. This is really quite pretty. I'm surprised as a young kid, we never stopped here with my parents. We just kind of just drove right by this basin. But this basin area is, it's a big complex of really interesting examples of how a river can just carve out pure, solid granite. Okay, so actually, of all the stuff I was looking at earlier, that was just the preamble, if you will. This is actually the basin, and yeah, you can see why they have no swimming. This would be a great place to go swimming. But look at the way the rocks have been carved out and the way the water gets funneled in, and wow, this is really quite neat. It makes me want to go check out that flume place. Okay, so this is Cascade Brook, and once again, it's similar to the bottom with regards to how the water has just carved at the granite. And there's almost elements to this that even look like it, if it got into a little more of a shaded area, it could actually even be fishable. Although, you got to imagine the insect life is probably kind of sparse, because if every spring the water just carves away at this stone, you got to believe that it's going to be doing a number on the insects. I always got to get the impression that there's an animal up there or something, the way they're wanting to climb up and look at things more closely. It's kind of like Yellowstone, You look where everybody else is looking. Look at, they're trying to get a picture of something. And there's even a guy that's climbed up even further looking down. It's got to be more than a squirrel, right? As you can see, there's a couple of people down there enjoying the beautiful weather today. It's like 80 degrees, it's sunny. It's just got to be a gorgeous, what is it, July like 29th or something, but absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Can you imagine what that's like when there isn't a semi-drought going on, huh? Well, I'm beginning to become a real fan of this Cascade Brook Trail. I can already see that there's probably even more falls up there. I have literally had to stop filming all the way up because there were just so many scenic areas like this. But I had to definitely catch this one. And I'm pretty sure as I get around the bend here, there's going to be another great shot of it. So why don't we take a look? Yeah, it's another just gorgeous waterfall. People are enjoying it. It's really refreshing too. You get that little mist in the air. Well, I actually found someone's credit card, Mr. Benjamin Smith on the trail, and actually found Mr. Smith as well. So that had a good happy ending. But once again, this is just a absolutely beautiful place. There's a lot of people climbing up here, kids, stuff like that. But yeah. So I might actually be leaving the stream for a little bit now. We've got about 1.3 miles left to go to get to Lonesome Lake. Well, as you can see, we're starting to get near the top. You can start to see, I think that's like Mount Liberty over there. Probably get a better view a little later. You can see the trail's pretty steep in places. That's the sort of the beginning of Cascade Brook, so much smaller brook now, right? And as you can see, things are starting to flatten out a little bit up here. And I'm actually thinking I'm starting to see a little blue sky in the distance there too, so we're sort of nearing the peak. Just got to get over a few more of these tree roots and stones, and hopefully we'll be right there we're only within a few hundred yards. I can feel it. As I surmised, we're coming up to Lonesome Lake. This is always the best part of any hike, right? Getting to the top. Now, this is not the top of the mountain, but I believe this is about 2,700 feet. I can see there's a bunch of people over there. And the brook is starting to get a little quieter. I did pass another fly fisherman a little while ago, but he said he thought he would have had a lot better luck if he had brought his waders and stuff. It's nice to finally get up here. I can feel just an absolutely gorgeous breeze, which, after a long walk, is always welcome. Well, Stuart, we're about to go fishing Lonesome Lake. Well, we made it to Lonesome Lake. This is really pretty. I think it's a little over 12 acres. They stock it by helicopter with brook trout. I can see a couple of female mallard ducks. Oh, the water just looks absolutely gorgeous. There were some guys here that were on this little bridge a second ago, and they were talking about wanting to go swimming, and I can see over there actually are some people going swimming. The mountain range that you see straight ahead, that's Lafayette. I climbed that when I was younger. That was a lot of fun. As you can see, it's above tree line. And then on the other side of this is actually Cannon Mountain. No, look, there's someone going swimming. So wow, this is absolutely gorgeous, and what a beautiful day too. Just a beautiful day. Look at I think there's the male mallard, wondering where his ladies have gone to, and clearly trying to avoid this guy swimming. It looks like a whole bunch of people. This is it's an absolutely great place. I might even be tempted to do some swimming later, huh? At any rate, so this appears to be the swimming area for the Lonesome Lake hut. But beautiful. That's I think Mount Liberty's over to the right, and Lafayette. Really nice view of the range. So this is a real pretty area here. Look at there's a big hawk, huh? Size of that bird. So this is it's part of Cannon Mountain right there, and I'm gonna walk around a little bit here and show you. But I'm walking around the lake because what I'm looking for is a place where I might be able to find some brook trout. So I thought I'd come over to where I saw on the map a little stream leading into the lake. One, because the shore tends to be a little sandier because it brings sand down from the mountains here, and two, it also brings food to the brook trout. So I'm going to try to walk up a little quietly and see if there's anything happening here. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but I came across this earlier. Well, they're not really moving right now, but there's got to be in that water probably close to almost 40 brook trout. See that? Look at that. So I guess there's brook trout in this lake. This little stream though is pretty deep too. I'm surprised. Gosh, it must be like at least 3.5 feet deep right here, right? It's probably very, very protective. They can go zipping right up it. Those mergansers probably can't swim very fast in a little narrow channel like this, although I bet some kind of crane would do a good job here. But it's still deep too, Definitely look at the size of some of these fish. These are pretty good sized brook trout. And so they're a few years old. And boy, they're hiding right in that shaded area too. You can't really see in there, but there's a bunch of them right in there. Well, this has to be the epitome of mountain brook trout fishing. So this is Lonesome Lake, and there's a lot of these little streams, and as you can see, they deposit nice sand and everything, so it's nice and sandy. Those ducks that are out there on the stones, those are mergansers, red-billed mergansers, and that's also a sign that there's a lot of trout here because they eat trout like it's no tomorrow. Which might explain why there was a lot of trout that I just saw a few minutes ago further up this little stream, because it's probably a lot harder for the mergansers to catch the trout in these little narrow channels, because the mergansers would prefer to swim and chase them in a nice big open lake, right? So it's really good to see that some trout actually survive those ducks, because those ducks are pretty efficient at what they do, right? A lot better at catching trout than I am. But so I'm going to rig up, and as you can see, a lot of people hiking through here. Guys, it's just absolutely gorgeous. These mountains like all around me. That's where the lodge is down there for the AMC hut, and you can stay the night too, which is kind of nice. And it looks like it didn't take. A lot of the people that are staying there, they don't look like the people that were climbing the Appalachian Trail. They look like the people that made it up here for the night. And so that might not be a bad deal if I could get a room without. I can ask later. There's no electricity, but they may just be bunk rooms. So sometimes camping with a tent is a lot of fun too. But wow, this is just absolutely gorgeous. Just gorgeous place to go fly fishing. So I really would like to stay the night. I'm not going to, but this is the kind of place where, when the insects start coming off, hatching, probably has a hex hatch here in the evening, maybe a little earlier in the year, a few weeks ago. But okay, let's rig up, and I'll take the camera with me. I'm not sure you can see this, and I thought it was like some kind of a cell tower thing, but to tell you the truth, if you see that one tree higher up than most of the others, and there's a couple others like it, I think that looks like an eagle's nest, and it looks like somebody's sitting in it too. So no wonder the little brook trout were all in that little tiny stream hidden away. This lake is apparently not all that deep. As you can see, I can see weeds going all the way out. There are the mergansers. I hope the eagle eats them occasionally, right? Yeah, so I thought we'd come out here and I put the now there's no fish rising or anything, but so what I did is, and maybe it's a little bit early for grasshoppers, but what I thought I would do is I put on a little grasshopper. I don't know if you can see that little grasshopper pattern, little red stuff on the back there, so it says like he's hurt or something. I don't know. I also have some, and I see a lot of these dragonflies, but I don't see anything biting at the surface. But I did see some of those trout earlier biting taking stuff on the surface back there. So that's going to be, hopefully, I don't want to get too overconfident by saying that, oh, that'll be easy. We'll go catch some of those later if we don't catch anything out here. But also wanted to share with you that I have it's a Dave Robichaud reel. He doesn't make these anymore, but very, very nice reel, well made. I'm going to be trying some of this new Orvis line, floating line, but it's really, really narrow, so it's really, really nice for older rods like this one that were, originally designed to work with silk line. And this rod is a for some of those guys that are. This is a Payne 204 light, and it's really. I thought it'd be really nice to bring up here because it's a 3-piece rod, so it compacts down nicely, so I can carry it. But at the same time, it 8.5 feet. If I'm in a narrow little area, and you would think that I should be using a little tiny rod, which I do sometimes in narrow areas, but there's also you can almost like dab things a little bit here too, right? So I need to get some line out. I think this is the first time I've ever cast with this fishing line. And it feels like it just wants to, this is a beautiful rod too, right? But it's just, it's just going right out there, right? Yeah, that feels like you could cast it almost as far as you want. I do have the wind a little bit to my back, so that helps, right? Yeah, that's more than I probably even need in this lake. So, I wanted to go try and do some fishing over here by these rocks, but since the mergansers were all hanging out there, I got a funny feeling there's probably no trout there. So what I thought I would probably do is try a little bit into some of these little streams, or let's wait out. Let's see how far I can wade out. For starters, right? I'm going to reel some of this line back in, and once I get out there, I'll turn the camera back on. Well, to no surprise, I waded out a little ways, and it began to feel like quicksand. The nice solid sand that I'm standing on here disappears at another 20-30 feet out that way. So I've tried. Oh, look, there was something just surfaced right there. Maybe that was my imagination. So I'm probably going to have better luck fishing that little stream after all, huh? But wow, you can't you can't complain about the scenery. What I can do later if I don't play around too much out here is I might be able to try some roll casts from the other side. It might be deeper over there, and it might be a little rockier, so I might be able to wade out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if I can catch some of those brook trout in the brook, this little stream right up here, and let's dry this hopper off a little bit so we can see what one looks like. there were enough of them in there. There's bound to be one that'll, want to check out this this little grasshopper imitation. So we'll turn it back on when I get back towards that area. Okay, so this is going to be a little trickier than I thought. I got the wind kind of, I might want to curl around here, but they seem to be right underneath this, they're going right underneath the soil sort of, or the, whatever the bedding to the side of this stream is. It's like a moss, kind of like bog, kind of like stuff, and it seems like they can go right underneath it, which is great. That's definitely how they hide from things. And I can see some really small trout down in there, so clearly they're spawning too, because that's smaller than 4 inches, and if 4 inches is what they're stocking, then these things are spawning, or maybe even native brook trout. So that's a great sign. I can't imagine they put in brook trout the size of some of these things. So let's see if we can get one. Let's kind of come in, even though I'm casting my shadow from this direction. Let's see if I can get a little better cast here because of the wind. And I'm going to just drop the fly right down there, and let's see if something happens, right? Almost hit the bushes. Ooh. No, someone came up and took a look at it. Try that again. Well, you got to be pretty accurate with your cast in this little brook. And here I thought this grasshopper would be something they would be just jumping all over. Okay, so we're going to try this again. It's a little windy. I pinched the barbs on my flies. You can see I have a little tiny fly now. It's a little more like a sulfur, right? And those were something that was a fly that sort of hatches a little later in the season. So what I want to see now is if maybe they'll go for that where they didn't go for the grasshopper, right? But I'm gonna have to be very, very delicate with this because these trout are. You would think that that I was fishing out of an aquarium, literally, and it looks like I am. But with the wind and they're being a little skittish, so I have to be. I have to be very, very gentle in how I drop this down on them. Okay, so let's try this now. Pretty good. Okay, well, you may have seen I left that little pool of brook trout to the kids, and I've come up here just a few feet away, actually, probably 20 feet, because I heard there was a nice little beaver pond, and sure enough, this is all made by a beaver. So I have no idea if the trout are in here, but I mean they're certainly in the stream right just behind me. So. Once again, it seems like I'm facing the wind this time, so I can try and make a few little casts, or I can walk around, and that looks like a little ways to do that. Let's just see if there's something out here. Maybe I can make a roll cast or two, and probably no one fishes this section, right? Whereas I think that other place, people probably fish all the time. Yeah, maybe there's something out there where it's a little deeper. Okay, a little more visibility. I'm not seeing big fish though. So what I'm doing, the technique here is a sort of like a roll cast. Not sort of, it is a roll cast. But ooh, it didn't look big, but I can see it. Ooh, trying to eat my fly. But you know, listen, if I catch a small fish, the main thing is we can also check out to see what it is, right? You know, I'll be curious as to, I'm going to dry this off a little bit. A nice little side cast maybe. See if there's more fish out that way too. Okay, let's try our friend again. Ooh, that feels a little bigger than I expected. Let's see what we have. Oh, it's a brook trout. You can tell right now. Ooh, nice little fight. I wish I could tell how they mark the stocked fish, you know, and then you could see if this was native or not. But boy, that's a pretty good size one for this little beaver pond. I kind of expected. Let me see. I don't want to bend the pole at all. Wet my hands a little bit. Come on, guy. Wow. Not bad, huh? How did you get the hook in you? Oh, yes, that's nothing there. Okay, so look at that. Nice little red colors. Look at the fins. You see that? That's a little brook trout. Whoops, and back in he goes. Yeah, I was trying to see if there was like fins. You know, sometimes they cut the fins off of the stocked one, so you can tell. But I really couldn't see there. So, well, hopefully I got that on film, so you can see what that's like. And you know, so I was able to catch a trout at Lonesome Lake, even though I had to hit a beaver pond just a little north of the lake. But that was pretty good. So let's try to see if we can catch another one. See if he has a friend out there, right? It's only fair. Yeah, so you see, without barbing the hook, they come off pretty easily. So it's you know, you want to do anything minimal as possible. You know, if you're going to catch and release, you don't want to hurt these guys. You know, it's just, I enjoy the sport, but you know, I don't want to, especially if it's a native trout. Okay. Some tourists walking by. All right, so let's try to dry the fly again. Scare everything around here. And we'll set up our little roll casting again. I wonder if I could do a reel cast. Yeah, I might be able to. It's hot. If I get it up high. Oh, I almost caught something on there. That's just as far as my roll cast. All right. Yeah, I get a lot farther out. Yeah, and that was with the wind too. Ooh, something tried to bite it. Yeah, I bet, you know, if I could figure out a way to get across, I would have the wind with me, and the roll cast would be a lot more effective. And I should probably put something dry on this little fly too. This is a challenge casting, and the fly is just sinking just right away. So let me put something else on. And okay, so I've got a little tiny like caddis hat imitation on here, and trying to roll cast against the wind. That's a lot of fun, right? You know, I might be able to walk along this beaver dam and get down to that little corner over there. Oh, wind just died. And it feels like it's starting up already again. Don't have a lot of room here to... right in my face. All right. I'm gonna see if I can bushwhack over a little and try from a different angle to take advantage of this wind a little bit, or not let the wind take advantage of me. Maybe that's a better way to say it, right? Of course, as soon as I say that, the wind stops. There, getting out there further now. That's a nice little rod. It's a little 4-weight rod. Get a little twitch. Nothing. Let's see if we can get a little further this time. Yeah, a little bit further. Pull out a little more line. Let's give it a little couple of twitches. I can see a couple of things surfacing, but of course, it could be just bugs. Let's try again. I think that's almost getting close to where I caught that other fish. Of course, probably I could roll cast now from over there. No problem. It seems like the wind has just completely died. Probably my sign. Probably a sign like, hey, you better get going home soon. Plop, flop, fizz, fizz. Yeah, you see, you can hear the branches. I tried to get a little further back, and you heard what happened. I can touch branches already. Let's step up a little more to my right. I'm close, really close to where they were before. But, you know. Yeah, that's a good one. Ah, got one. Maybe. Well, I did have one, but may have lost him here. I did lose him. He felt smaller, though. That's the problem, you know, when you have the barbless hooks and you don't keep the tension tight, you tend to sometimes lose them. Okay, so of course now it feels like the wind just shifted on me, but I can probably get a little bit of a back cast here, right? So let me see if I can get it out there where those little fish are biting. Little fish. Yeah, this is how I really want it to happen. It's how the fly slaps the water as it just comes right straight down on them, and that catches their attention. Anyway, that's getting close to the spot. A little bit to the right would be nice. Wow, I almost picked off a tree back there. That's dangerous. Yeah, that's probably as good as it's going to get. Pull in a little line here so that if he takes it, I don't lose him. Okay. Are you kidding me? On the tree? The only obstacle out there? Oh, good. Jeez, don't lose that now. Yes. You know, it's just not my day for catching any more little brook trout here. So I think it's telling me it's time to leave. As I managed to snag a tree behind me, much higher up than I would probably have wanted to. And maybe a lost fly there. Well, I can always go over and try to knock down that little old dead tree, but let's see what do I have for options for getting out of here, because I know I stepped on that area before and that went straight down. Not too bad. Well, that concludes my third remote trout pond, remotely stocked trout pond, and I stayed a little longer and fished. I fished the lake again, tried a few spots. wasn't very lucky. No bites, nothing. So unfortunately, I once again stayed later than I wanted to, and as you can see, it's kind of fortunate to have gotten off the trail before it got dark. I'm gonna have to buy one of those headlamps, or I'm gonna have to start, waking up to the reality that it's not a good thing to be coming down a mountain at night. So so that concludes things, and that makes it trout pond number 3, and we'll continue to work on the others.